Hello, this is Giant Tank 1400, and this is All Grown Up, Season 4, Episode 1 review. The name of the episode is RV Having Fun Yet? Now, this episode was great. I kind of just let it take me for a ride, basically. It's just one of those episodes where instead of kind of digging into it while as I watch it, I just kind of just watch it and let the episode take me for a ride. It was an amazing episode. So what we have going on here, the moms of the 8 main characters are basically taking them and their kids out on an RV trip from, I think they live in California, and they're going all the way to New York because Susie is performing in I guess it's the Thanksgiving parade or something like that, as she's singing about cheeses, basically. Now, the main plot revolves around Tommy, and he's having issues with his mom being there for him too much. He wants his mom to kind of let him do his own thing, and it's kind of embarrassing him. He's really just not having a good time with it, to the point he gets frustrated and says, "I wish I never had a mom," which is something you should never say, by the way. You should always love your mom. I agree with what Dill said. He said, "I will never agree with not loving my mommy." I completely agree with that. So Tommy convinces everyone to sneak out at midnight to see this geyser ghost horse lady. By the way, that scene, it should have been animated better. This is kind of what I was talking about last in the last review, the season review, where the animation is consistent. However, there are points where it needs to spike upward, and this is one of those moments where the animation should have been a lot better than it was. They should have spent more time on the animation. Instead, it kind of looked just really plain to me. It could have been, my point is, it could have been more epic looking, and it wasn't on screen for that long, so it's not like they had to draw 30 seconds of it. I think it was on screen for 2 or 5 seconds or something. So it wasn't like it would have been too much. And this was a 44-minute episode. So anyway, and enough on that. So Tommy and the kids all go out to this place to see this ghost. And Betty wakes up. By the way, Betty was amazing in this episode, and I'll get more into that in a little bit later in the review. But so Betty wakes up and she just hightails it out of there. Everyone's asleep. She thinks everyone's in the RV, and she hightails it out there because she wants to make miles, and the roads are clear. So so by doing this, they leave the kids behind, like a whole nother state. I can't remember exactly the states, but they leave their kids behind, and now it's up to Tommy to really pull through and get Susie to the parade on time, because otherwise Susie's gonna miss the parade, because basically the RV needed some repairs. So at first, Aditi, Tommy's mom, was like, no, but the other moms convinced her that they need to give them a try to travel hundreds of miles by themselves, which is kind of insane for their age. Really, as a parent, I wouldn't have allowed them to stay there. But at the same time, Susie wouldn't be able to perform, so you're kind of letting her down. So it is a kind of a tough decision, and there does come a point where you gotta allow your kids to grow up. However, they're 10 years old. I mean, Angelica's 13, she's the oldest, but still, 13 being the oldest, that's really not that old. And Angelica wasn't taking charge, Tommy was. So there's that as well. So Tommy kind of sets things up, and they get to a point where they're walking down, I'm guessing Route 66. I believe that's the expressway that's out there, because Chucky even says Route 66, which I'm pretty sure that's it, but then he turns it upside, or Route 99, but then if you look at the map, when he turns it upside down, Canada's on top, so maybe that's an animation error or something like that. However, it would seem that they're on Route 66. Now they're walking down it, and they kind of all break down. They start crying, and then the moms show up, and then Kimmy's dog that she found kind of gets in the way of the RV, and Betty takes the RV off the road to avoid the dog, and hits hits a pole, and basically they can't do anything until that night because it's the night before Thanksgiving. So Susie's in trouble again, and she can't get to the parade on time. Now this is where Angelica really steps forward and kind of gets them a ride to New York City. She flags down an onion truck, and she's just like, okay, you're taking us to New York no matter what. She kind of, that kind of attitude of hers, that personality trait that she doesn't take no for an answer. It's basically her way or the highway. And this way, it's the highway no matter what. So they all get there, and finally, and Susie does an amazing job singing. So everything turns out. Now, the episode was, like I said, great. And Tommy's character development in here, we get to see that he's really embarrassed about his mom, but then he really realizes he needs his mom. There really wasn't that much else. We get to see him grow. We get to see him like struggle in the sense that this is basically the hardest thing besides riding a horse that he's ever done. And it kind of goes along with the last episode, the Dude, Where's My Horse, where Tommy was like really bad at that stuff, but he took the leadership role and got them through that tough spot. This time, I mean, he wasn't necessarily bad at what he was doing. However, he came up with the ideas. He got everyone through it. He made a way for them to get to a certain point. Then the moms came, and then Angelica finished things up, which was really good seeing Angelica finish things up because she was kind of really mean to Susie through this episode, really jealous. And her mom didn't even notice she was jealous. It was completely obvious. She was trying to hurt her. She was spilling things all over the place. So that was all funny. But then it really shows like Angelica and Susie's sisterly rivalry, as Angelica was willing to help Susie out. But again, Angelica is one of those people, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and then she causes Susie to faint kind of when they're talking in the hotel. So that was it was really good. That's in lines with Angelica's character in the past as well. So it was good to see that growth in her, and it was really good to see that growth in Tommy as well, as you got to see him really struggle with what he was doing, and he felt really guilty about what he said to his mom. I don't think he apologized directly, but he did hug her in the end. So maybe that's enough of apology. Now, all the other characters had like something else going on that was really funny. Well, not really some of the moms. Some of the moms did, but all the main characters did. Now we have Chucky trying to get a kiss from a girl because he saw Tommy kiss his girlfriend Rachel, which is, by the way, the episode's kind of like not exactly on the right timeline, as this episode really happens after Tommy and Rachel get together, which is in this season. It's an episode coming up called Rachel. Can't remember exactly what episode number it is. That being said, I don't think it's hugely important because other shows do stuff not in like the right order of things time wise. I wish they would, and you could actually argue that this episode happens at the end of season 4, or like I'm not exactly sure was this episode lies. However, I just took the page of how the episodes aired, and this episode aired after Dude, Where's My Horse. And I actually remember it airing because it was like a special. They had Dude, Where's My Horse and an RV having fun yet. And I think Dude, Where's My Horse happened sometime in the middle of season 3, whereas this episode happened somewhere in the middle of season 4. But beyond that point, I'm not going to mention it again. So Chucky wants to get kissed by a girl. And he's talking to Phil about it. I almost said Lil. No, he's not talking about Lewis. He's talking to Phil about it. And it's just kind of funny seeing him fail. His first attempt was, he says to the girl, "Have you been eating onions?" It's just like one of the worst things. And he kept embarrassing himself. Like it was just hilarious because like most people when they reach that age where they kind of want their first kiss, they kind of feel attraction towards the opposite gender. They kind of get it, do embarrassing things, not on purpose, but it's just kind of like it's just the way, kind of the way it is with attraction. Even when you grow up, it's still like you still sometimes do like embarrassing things when you like someone. It's just I don't know why. I don't know why it is, and I tried to analyze it, but I can't figure it out. Anyway, so that's really funny, and then we got Phil like gathering dead stuff, which I'll mention that late in a little bit here. But he's basically collecting dead stuff, and they smell, and it's just it. Phil's funny. Everyone's funny in this episode, and then you got Kimmy, which, by the way, I think this is the first time we get to see Kimmy really like enjoy animals, which is an important part of her character. So she finds a dog, names it Pumpkin, after she realizes it doesn't have a home. That dog ends up chasing them down for Phil's backpack, and Kimmy can't control the dog because of Phil's backpack. So it's just hilarious. Like you see them after the first night, you see them all wake up, and Pumpkin just destroyed the inside of the RV. It's just hilarious, and the look that Kira gives Kimmy is just like she knew that it was Kimmy's idea to do it, which a mother would always know their own kids. So I just thought that was really good. By the way, Kira was kind of funny in this episode too, because she keeps throwing up because I guess she keeps having trouble with the stuff they're eating, and it's kind of hilarious because right when she's about to done throwing up, someone like Dill mentions, "Oh, it was just a hairy guy with his shirt off," and she just goes right back to the toilet. That was hilarious. Then you have Lil like bouncing a soccer ball the whole time trying to break a record. Part of that I felt that was annoying, and some of the characters actually pointed it out, like it was annoying a little bit. And she's like, "I'll stop, break," or whatever she says. And then at the end, which was like, I can remember the first time I watched it, I thought it was like kind of heartbreaking. She gets so close to the record, and then she drops the ball at the end of the episode, and you see the look at her eyes, and everyone's just like, oh no, and then Lil just picks up the ball. You kind of see the look in her eyes like sad, but then she just starts again. That was really good, seeing that though she failed, she's willing to like restart something. So I just thought that was good in terms of like a little bit of character development on her part. Dill doesn't have like a huge role in this episode. He does kind of he does fill that role of being the youngest of the group and kind of really not pulling a guilt trip on Tommy, but really like stating like, "I can't believe you said that to Mom." And he's kind of funny throughout the episode as usual, but we don't get to see any real character development from him. He doesn't really struggle with anything. He's just there to move along the plot and as like a comic relief. Well, not really comic relief, but comedy type character, which that's fine. In this episode, we had a ton of development, and the last character I would actually like to mention is there's actually two. First, Dee Dee, in terms of that it was really good to see her let Tommy go, that we got to see that mother-son relationship between Dee Dee and Tommy grow, and in the sense that she actually said that I think Tommy was right and Lipschitz was wrong. And if you know her from like the original series of Rugrats, she's always mentioning Lipschitz, and she does in this episode earlier, and she does like in past episodes as well. She like would follow that book of Lipschitz to the letter, and now she's like, "I think Lipschitz is wrong." So that was really good seeing that from like her character development. We don't get to see much in terms of that, but it was good to see that she's not like dedicated 100% dedicated to what Lipschitz is saying. She can realize when he can be wrong. Now, Betty's character was great, was extremely funny. I think everyone would agree that she was the perfect one to drive the RV, and her whole thing with the Betty Blast, that was just hilarious. Anyway, the last thing, the moral from a Christian point of view, I really like the moral of it. The sense that you do have to let your kids go and learn on their own, but at the same time you still have to be there for them. So it was kind of that balance between it a little bit. However, like I said, I still think they're too young, but I think it does line up from a Christian point of view. I think it definitely lines up. When you raise your kids, there's a point where you have to let them go and have their own challenges and let them fail sometimes. So really good moral there. Anyway, I'm going to give the episode a solid 10 out of 10. I think it was like one of the funniest episodes I've seen. It had so many funny moments, the montages. There's just so much in this episode that I wish I could have mentioned, but I didn't. The whole thing with Dee Dee like ruining all the displays. I mean, all the tourist traps basically. Hilarious. This episode was great. 10 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. See you in the next one. Bye.